Imagine spending like a decade perfecting your craft as a digital illustrator or an analyst or, I don't know, a coder.
Right.
And then you just watch a software program generate a literal masterpiece or a flawless data report in, 3.4 seconds?
Yeah, it's jarring.
It is. It feels like the end of human utility.
Yeah.
So, the big questions, will robots take all our jobs? Will AI replace us completely?
Mm-hmm.
Or will this technology actually create even bigger opportunities than we can currently imagine?
That's the real question. Right.
So if you've ever felt that pit in your stomach about your career in the age of artificial intelligence, this deep dive is absolutely for you, because today we are exploring the future jobs that will actually thrive in the AI era.
Yeah, and we are unpacking a really massive source today. It's called The Human Frontier: Navigating the Future of Work with AI. And, the core mission of this text, it isn't to just list the jobs that are dying out.
Which is what everyone focuses on.
Exactly. Instead, it maps out the entirely new ecosystem of careers that are being born right now and exactly how you can prepare to thrive in it.
So to figure out what all this research actually means for you and your future, we need to address the sheer panic out there.
Oh, the panic is real.
Oh my gosh, yes. You hear students asking, wait, if AI does my homework, won't it just do my job too?
It's a fair question, honestly.
It totally is. The anxiety is palpable. But the source text frames this not as a story of job elimination, but really of job transformation.
Yeah, and to understand that transformation, we have to look backward for just a moment. Think about the computer revolution.
Okay.
When computers hit the workplace, they completely obliterated certain roles. I mean, typing pools, manual ledger accountants.
Right, jobs that just don't exist anymore.
Exactly. But they didn't eliminate work itself. They created millions of careers that nobody in, say, the 1950s could have ever fathomed.
Like software engineering or digital marketing.
Right, or IT support. And AI is just the next iteration of that exact same cycle.
So we are essentially transitioning from one way of working to another. But to grasp why some jobs are vanishing while others become, highly lucrative, we need to establish the baseline of what AI actually is. Because the term artificial intelligence makes it sound like there's this tiny conscious brain inside the laptop.
Which could not be further from the truth.
Right.
The fundamental rule laid out in our source is that AI is incredibly efficient at automating repetitive, predictable tasks based on pattern recognition.
Okay, pattern recognition.
Right. Under the hood, these massive neural networks, they're essentially just sophisticated prediction engines. Like, if you feed an AI billions of documents, it learns the statistical probability of which word or data point or pixel should logically come next in a sequence.
Okay, wait, let me make sure I'm wrapping my head around that.
Well,
when it writes a beautifully structured essay, it doesn't actually understand the concepts of the essay.
not at all.
It's just calculating that based on the prompt, the word therefore usually follows the previous sentence.
That is exactly the core of it. It is a statistical probability machine.
Wow.
Yeah, it can analyze massive data sets, it can write code and answer questions because it recognizes the patterns of human output. But it possesses zero genuine comprehension.
So it doesn't actually know what it's saying.
Exactly. It completely lacks emotional intelligence. It cannot provide authentic leadership. It has no capacity for ethical decision-making, and it definitely cannot navigate the messy, unpredictable reality of human emotions.
Which fundamentally changes the value of a white-collar worker, right?
Yeah.
Because if the robotic, repetitive parts of your job,
Like writing basic emails or pulling data reports.
yeah, if those can be done by the machine, your value is no longer in your output speed. Your value is in your human judgment, which means you aren't racing the machine, you are driving it.
That is the pivotal realization that professionals are having right now. When you start using these tools, you often find they actually make the work vastly more manageable.
It's like a weight lifted.
Exactly. The future workplace belongs to those who work with AI, not against it. And if AI is this, powerful new vehicle, the source text points us toward the people who are building, training, and steering it.
Which leads us to the rise of entirely new AI native careers. Let's actually explore the mechanics of these new roles, because these models don't just magically behave perfectly out of the box, right?
Oh, definitely not.
Someone has to shape them. And the text highlights a role called the AI trainer. What does that actually look like?
So an AI trainer is fundamentally responsible for the feedback loop. Let's say a company deploys a customer service chatbot, and a user asks it a really complex question about, a return policy.
Right, happens all the time.
And the AI hallucinates, meaning it confidently predicts a sequence of words that is completely factually incorrect.
Oh, giving the wrong policy entirely.
Exactly. So the AI trainer steps in, analyzes the breakdown in the model's logic, and actually adjusts the training data so the system learns from the error. It's an actual process called reinforcement learning from human feedback.
Okay, so you really need deep domain knowledge for that. Like, if it's a medical AI, the trainer needs to know actual medicine to realize the AI's advice is dangerous.
Precisely. You have to be an expert in the field.
But correcting mistakes after they happen seems incredibly inefficient. How do we get the AI to generate the exact right answer on the very first try before it starts hallucinating?
Well, that requires a completely different skill set. And it brings us to one of the absolute fastest growing careers in the tech sector right now, which is the prompt engineer.
I have to admit, when I first heard the term prompt engineer, I thought it sounded like a made-up title for someone who just types questions into a chat box.
Oh, a lot of people think that.
Right. But the text treats this as a highly technical, rigorous discipline.
Because human language is inherently ambiguous, right?
Yeah?
And AI is entirely literal. If you ask an AI to, say, write a marketing ad, you are leaving thousands of variables up to the machine's statistical guesswork.
And you just get something super generic and boring back.
Exactly. So a prompt engineer doesn't just ask a question. They construct something that is closer to a watertight legal contract.
A legal contract. Okay, walk me through that. What does that mean?
So a prompt engineer designs layered instructions. They define the exact persona the AI should adopt, the precise formatting constraints, the negative constraints.
Wait, negative constraint?
Yeah, meaning what the AI is absolutely not allowed to say.
Oh, wow.
And they define the specific logical steps the AI has to follow to reach its conclusion. They are actively closing loopholes so the AI cannot deviate from the business's exact needs. It requires immense critical thinking and a really deep understanding of linguistic structure.
It's like being a horse whisperer, but for algorithms.
That's a great way to put it.
But let me push back on this for a second, because technology moves incredibly fast. Won't prompt engineering become completely obsolete in like 2 or 3 years when the AI gets smart enough to just infer what I want without me having to write a legal contract?
Yeah, it's a very common assumption. But human intent is notoriously difficult to infer, even for other humans.
That's fair.
I mean, think about how often a manager gives a vague instruction to an employee and the employee delivers the complete wrong thing.
Literally every day.
Exactly. As AI takes on more complex, multi-step business processes, the ability to clearly define constraints, logic, and intent will only become more critical.
Okay, that makes sense. So you're writing the parameters to force an accurate output. But what if the underlying data the AI is pulling from is just fundamentally flawed? I mean, if the foundation is compromised, no prompt is going to save you.
You hit the nail on the head, which opens up one of the most serious vulnerabilities in this new landscape, creating the need for our third AI native role, which is the AI ethics specialist.
Right, because as these systems are integrated into banking and healthcare and hiring, the risk of bias becomes just monumental.
Absolutely. The source gives a deeply unsettling example of this regarding AI recruitment systems.
Yes, the hiring algorithm example.
Right. It's a classic problem of historical data. Let's say a major corporation wants an AI to filter resumes and find the best candidates for executive roles. So naturally, they train the AI on their last 20 years of successful hiring data.
And if that company historically promoted mostly men into executive roles?
The AI, which has no moral compass whatsoever, simply recognizes a statistical pattern.
Oh boy.
Yeah. It notices that successful candidates frequently played collegiate golf or belonged to specific fraternities. It literally begins filtering out women, not because it was programmed to be sexist, but because it is mathematically optimizing for the patterns of the past.
That is genuinely terrifying. Because the AI doesn't explain why it rejected the candidate. It's just a black box that says no. So how does an ethics specialist actually go in and fix that?
They have to audit the model's decision-making process. They actively hunt for proxy variables, like the golf example, that are secretly carrying bias.
So they have to be kind of like a detective.
Exactly. They need a really deep understanding of technology alongside legal frameworks and sociology to de-weight those biased variables without breaking the AI's predictive power.
It's a massive responsibility. And coordinating all these moving parts, the trainers, the prompters, the ethicists, that requires our fourth role, which is the AI product manager.
Yes.
They act as the translator between the technical software developers who understand the math and the business stakeholders who just need a product that works for the students or the customers.
Without the product manager, the engineers might build a completely brilliant system that no one actually wants to use. They are the strategic bridge.
So as you're listening to this, it's time for a quick challenge. Let's play Would You Choose This Future Job?
Ooh, I like this.
Think about where your natural talents lie in this new ecosystem. Are you the analytical mind who wants to reverse engineer the AI's mistakes as a trainer?
Or maybe the linguistic architect writing the prompts.
Exactly. Or are you the ethicist fighting for fairness?
Yeah.
Because these aren't science fiction concepts, folks. These are real job postings right now.
They really are. And it's crucial to realize that AI isn't an isolated industry. It doesn't just exist in a vacuum.
You're right.
It is a layer being applied over everything else. Which brings us to the traditional tech roles that are evolving to integrate AI. The source refers to these professionals as the integrators.
Starting with data scientists. We established earlier that AI feeds on massive amounts of information. So if the AI is the engine, the data is the fuel.
Exactly. Data scientists aren't just managing static databases anymore. They are designing the predictive models.
Give me an example of that.
Okay, if an e-commerce company wants to predict exactly when a customer is likely to run out of a product and trigger an automated ad, the data scientist structures the massive data sets so the AI can find that precise behavioral pattern.
And wherever there is valuable data, there are malicious actors trying to exploit it. Which leads us to the cybersecurity expert. The source notes that hackers are actively using AI to write incredibly complex malware and generate phishing emails that, frankly, no longer have those obvious spelling errors we used to look for.
Oh yeah, they look flawless now. It is an escalating arms race. The threats are automated, which means the defense must be automated.
But wait, if we are using an AI to defend the network, and the hacker is using an AI to attack the network, aren't we just watching two machines fight it out? Why do we even need the human cybersecurity expert at that point?
Because an AI doesn't understand business risk.
What do you mean?
Let's say the defensive AI detects an anomaly and its mathematical protocol says, well, shut down the entire global server network to isolate the threat.
Oh, wow. Which would stop the business completely.
Exactly. A human expert has to step in and say, no, shutting down the Globus server will cost us $50 million an hour. Let's isolate this specific node instead. The human sets the risk parameters and makes the final judgment call.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. The human is managing the fallout, not just the code. And speaking of managing humans, the text introduces a role I found super fascinating. The human AI collaboration specialist.
Oh, this one is so important.
Right, because you can buy the most expensive enterprise AI in the world, but if your office staff is terrified of it, they literally won't use it.
Change management is arguably the hardest part of this transition. This specialist maps out the workflows. They look at a marketing department and say, okay, the AI will draft the initial copy, but John, you are responsible for injecting the brand voice.
They handle the psychology of technology adoption, ensuring people treat the AI as a coworker or an assistant, not a competitor.
Exactly. Which flows perfectly into how creative and physical industries are adapting. Take the AI content strategist. They aren't letting the AI autonomously publish blog posts or social media updates.
No, because that would sound like a robot wrote it.
Right. They're using it to generate raw drafts and then applying their human taste, marketing psychology, and SEO strategy to shape it into something genuinely engaging.
Or look at the physical world with robotics engineers who are taking these predictive models out of the cloud and putting them into automated manufacturing systems or healthcare tools. In fact, the healthcare technology specialist is a profound example of this integration.
The source text dives into medical imaging specifically. They are feeding thousands of MRI scans into an AI to help doctors detect early-stage diseases.
And the AI is analyzing the scans at a pixel level, identifying anomalies that a human eye might miss just due to natural fatigue.
But notice the mechanism here. The AI is an insanely advanced diagnostic assistant. It flags the anomaly.
Right.
But it is the human doctor who verifies the finding, considers the patient's complex medical history, and most importantly, sits down with the patient to deliver the news and actually develop a treatment plan.
Because delivering a complex diagnosis requires a level of empathy and nuance that is strictly biologically human. Which actually brings us to perhaps the most reassuring part of the source material. We've mapped out the tech roles, but what about the jobs least likely to be automated? Welcome to the empathy economy.
I love this concept. The empathy economy represents the fields where your human qualities are your absolute ultimate job security. An AI can mimic politeness, sure, but it cannot genuinely care. And human beings are hardwired to respond to genuine care.
Teachers are a prime example here. And AI can certainly provide a student with a perfectly customized lesson plan on, like, algebra, but a student doesn't just need information.
Right, they have Wikipedia for that.
Exactly. They need motivation. They need a human being to look them in the eye and say, I know you're struggling, but I believe in you. Keep trying. A machine cannot provide mentorship.
It provides data, not inspiration. And the same principle applies to managers and leaders. People follow human courage, shared vision, and authenticity. We don't rally behind an algorithm.
No one's going to war for a chatbot.
No. And psychologists and counselors rely entirely on lived empathy. Understanding what grief or anxiety actually feels like. Sales professionals build their entire careers on trust, and trust is a uniquely human transaction.
And surprisingly, the source includes creative professionals in this irreplaceable category, too.
Why surprisingly?
Well, I say surprisingly because right now, writers, filmmakers, and designers are the ones feeling the most existential dread about AI generators.
Oh, sure. And the dread is completely valid. If your only skill is generating a generic image or a basic paragraph, you are vulnerable.
Yeah.
But the text argues that creatives who embrace AI will become exponentially more productive. They will use the tool as a creative assistant to brainstorm 50 concepts in an hour, storyboard a film sequence instantly, or generate raw assets. But the final product requires human taste, cultural context, and a specific point of view.
The source actually does a deep dive into one specific field to illustrate this dynamic perfectly, and that is instructional designers.
Yes, the ultimate case study.
Right. If you are involved in corporate training or education, this is the ultimate example of the human plus AI model. So an instructional designer builds learning courses. Now, AI can easily write a basic 10-question multiple-choice quiz. It can generate voiceovers and simple slide storyboards.
So if your job was just writing quizzes, you're sweating right now.
Oh, you're freaking out.
Yes. But here is what the AI cannot do. It cannot analyze a corporation's underlying culture to figure out why the sales team is underperforming.
Right.
It cannot design a branching, scenario-based learning simulation that tests a manager's emotional intelligence when firing an employee. It just doesn't understand the psychology of human boredom or motivation or stakeholder communication.
So the instructional designer hands the tedious work, the quizzes, the formatting to the AI. This frees up massive amounts of their time to focus on complex learning strategy, learner engagement, and high-level problem solving. They become faster, more strategic, and ultimately vastly more valuable.
That is the blueprint for almost every knowledge worker going forward.
Yeah. Which leads us to the ultimate question for you, the listener. Knowing all of this, what is your AI career readiness? Like, how do you actually prepare for this shift today?
The text breaks this down into 3 essential skill pillars that everyone must develop, whether you're an entrepreneur, a student, a teacher, or a seasoned professional.
Okay, lay them out for us.
Pillar number 1 is technical skills. And to be clear, this doesn't mean everyone needs to learn how to code Python.
Oh, thank goodness.
Right. It means digital literacy. It means understanding how to use AI tools, how to write a basic prompt. It means looking at a new AI tool, understanding its limitations, and knowing how to safely analyze data without, say, violating company privacy policies. You just have to know how to operate the machinery of your industry.
Makes total sense. Pillar number 2 is human skills. These are your moats. These are the core differentiators that AI cannot touch. Complex communication, creativity, emotional intelligence, resolving conflicts between team members.
Exactly.
If the machine is doing the executing, you have to do the critical thinking.
And pillar number 3 is learning skills, because whatever AI tool you master today will likely be obsolete in about 18 months.
Or less.
The landscape is just moving too fast, so adaptability, deep curiosity, and the willingness to continuously unlearn and relearn are the most critical survival traits in this economy.
So ask yourself right now a quick future skill assessment challenge. In your current job or your studies, are you primarily focusing on memorizing facts and executing routine steps that an AI already knows?
Or are you actively building the strategic thinking and emotional intelligence that makes you irreplaceable?
Because that is the paradigm shift at the heart of our source material today. The narrative of human versus AI is basically a distraction.
It really is. The reality of the future workplace is human plus AI. The individuals who thrive will be those who embrace AI as a powerful partner for those routine tasks, freeing their minds to focus on innovation, strategy, and empathy.
You stop acting like a robot. You get to start acting more human. Precise. So we've covered a massive amount of ground today. From the linguistic architecture of prompt engineers and the ethical safeguards of the builders to the undeniable power of the empathy economy, like teachers and creatives. And the clear takeaway is that you need to stop asking, will AI take my job? And start asking, how can I use AI to make myself undeniable?
It requires an active mindset. You cannot be passive in a technological revolution.
Challenge yourself this week. Pick just one AI tool and figure out how it can automate one boring task in your life. But this leaves us with one final, slightly provocative thought to mull over, which wasn't fully resolved in the text.
Oh, the pipeline problem.
Yes. If AI becomes incredibly good at doing all the entry-level repetitive work.
Right. The exact work we traditionally give to junior employees so they can learn the ropes.
Exactly. How does anyone get the foundational experience necessary to eventually become a senior expert? I mean, if the machine does all the junior work, how do we build the next generation of human masters? Think about how your industry is going to solve that pipeline problem.
It is going to be the defining challenge for the next decade of management.
It really is. Take control of the tool before you let the fear of the tool take control of you. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the future of work. Stay curious, stay human, and keep learning. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.